Well, don't get too up. You're not, we haven't started yet. Sit down for a second. All right, we have to find our agendas and.
Maybe I have one of some more copies.
Curse, right?
Yeah, here.
I was already informed.
You're not quite up first. You're actually like up third.
That's okay. Fair enough.
So.
Is there still active?
Yeah, reserves. Yeah.
125?
I've got 21 April, I have 22 years.
No, you didn't get 125.
No,
All right,
7th the time?
gentlemen, I'm
Oh, okay.
calling the meeting to order. So it's 7:06, right? Yeah. According to that clock. Well, actually, what time is it, Curtis?
7:12.
7:12, all right. So the first item on our agenda is public comments. Is there anybody that wants to address the select board directly regarding anything in general or what have you? Jeremy, are you looking to address the select board at some point during the meeting?
Just I'm here for abatement, so that's what I came here for. Not to address the select.
Okay. Well, all right, so we'll take that up later in the meeting.
Is that supposed to be part of this meeting? I was supposed to be here tonight for abatement meeting. If I'm in the wrong spot at the wrong time.
No, we can discuss it tonight.
Okay.
We figured that, but normally it didn't make it. We didn't know you were coming tonight. I think we actually expected you at the last meeting.
No, she told me to do this one instead. 'Cause I
Okay.
asked the woman that just walked out, she told me to come to this date instead.
Okay, that's fine. We're good with it. So that takes us to the approval of the January 10th public meeting minutes. We have a motion on those as submitted.
I'll make a motion. As written.
Okay.
Second
All right.
that.
Any, for discussion purposes, are there any changes, corrections? Or are we good with them as they are?
I'm good with them.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that makes it 3-0. And there's that. And then we have approval of the non-public minutes. I checked them, I went through them earlier. There were some typographical errors, primarily my name. We got that straightened out. When you sign that, that goes in there.
Yep.
Well, actually, no, that goes over that one, because that's kind of cool. Any discussion on the non-publics? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Are you for, opposed, or?
I said aye.
Oh, you're good, okay.
I'll speak up.
Okay. All right. Joel, you're next.
Okay, again, I'm here to find out what the board's decision is on cleaning up the land at map 32, lot 2 on the Richmond Road.
That'd be Gary Lang's property.
That's correct.
The board's position at this time is we're taking no action as of right now.
Okay,
That doesn't mean we're never going to take action. It doesn't mean we can't take action. It means we're not taking action right now.
okay. So, that isn't leaving me with any answer whatsoever.
Were you a petitioner in the case?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was the town of Troy versus Gary Lang.
In the court order, yes.
Okay. And
I was a complainant.
you were a complainant to the town of Troy?
Correct.
Okay.
And do you send a letter out after you have made your decision as to when and why?
No,
You don't?
no. We have a court order. It stands. It's good.
Okay. Because I did see in the non-public minutes
From the 10th?
from the 10th that it's states, the board discussed the next step of the Gary Lang legal business for the town's attorney. We can let the abutters take legal action going forward, and this will have no legal repercussions to the town for
Right.
doing so.
Right.
Now, I have found a letter that Cyrus Little wrote to the town. Because you told me that, you're saying you may, I don't know why this was not in, I had three of them, was not in the file at the town hall.
Okay, I remember reading this back in November,
Okay.
and we sent him a letter. Our lawyer did.
Another letter.
No, this letter right here, I agree.
Correct, correct.
I completely agree with you that we had our lawyer send him a letter, that letter.
Okay. All right, I'm here because I've been trying to get the mess cleaned up for probably 15 years now.
I understand that,
And it hasn't happened yet.
I understand that.
And now there's a court order giving you guys the right to clean it up and recoup the cost. And if you look at the RSA that the judge cited, in the order, it will give you direction to recoup the town's money for the cleanup cost.
And we are well advised of all that.
Okay.
You want my opinion?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I'll give you my personal opinion. My personal opinion, which may or may not reflect the opinions of the other two selectmen or anybody else in town, is that a disproportionate amount of town resources has been devoted to this problem in the last 18 months because your daughter was the town administrator.
Okay.
And in that time period, we didn't do one payroll for this town correctly and in compliance with state law. We didn't file our taxes correctly and in compliance with federal law. We didn't deal with the pension funding correctly and in compliance with the state's requirements. We ignored Troy Mills, but God damn it, we spent $10,000 litigating against Gary Lang
All right.
because he's across the street from you.
So why don't you take and finish this, which you got started, and recoup the money?
Nobody said we weren't going to.
Okay?
We're not doing it right now
You're not doing it right now.
because you want it done right now because it's across the street from you.
Okay, if it was across the street from you, how would you feel?
Given that I've lived in Bowkerville for 30 years
Yes?
with Meadowwood on my doorstep, I can pretty well assure you I'd be ambivalent about it. So, you knew he was there when you bought the property.
No, he was not when I bought
Well,
the property.
It's been a long time. So,
He, I
it's-
gotta disagree, but he was not there when I bought the property. He owned the property and I bought it up, but he wasn't.
okay, well,
He didn't.
it's
bring
been
it down.
15
Yeah.
years. It can be 15 more weeks.
Okay. But is that
That is
yes,
not
the
a co-
town is gonna take care of it?
That is not a commitment to anything. We are taking no action means no action. It means we're not abandoning our rights and the litigation that we paid for.
Okay.
But it means right now we have more important stuff than beating up your neighbor for you. So it's just the way it is.
All right. Is that the unanimous decision of the whole board?
Well, there's no
No
nobody's
motion.
making. If anyone wants to make a motion to do something, we can do it. The last motion we took on this was to take no action at this time.
Okay.
So no action is, we're not sending you a letter saying we're not doing it or we are doing it. We're not sending him a letter saying we are doing it, we are not doing it. It is not a priority. The judgment stands. It didn't go away. It's just not the top thing on our agenda.
All right.
No, I got nothing else. I mean, if somebody else wants to give an opinion, that's my personal opinion. on
My
this.
opinion to them would be to take it up with a civil lawsuit or something. They're obviously, their hands are tied, so if you wanna do something about it, go see an attorney and have a civil lawsuit. You're allowed to do that.
I shouldn't have to. The select board took a note for the laws used of the town of Troy, and there are zoning laws that are in place to address this.
Well, if you want my job, I'll resign and you can take it.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Never said that.
I'm just making. We're doing the best we can with what we've got. And if we don't get through some of the things that we have on our docket, there will really be bigger problems than that. That would be my personal opinion. So, unless, I mean, there's no point in us going back and forth on it. You want to talk about it more?
Nope.
I got nothing else to say.
I'm fine.
Okay. So then we're gonna move on. Okay. So, that takes us to Clean Gen. Hi, guys.
Good evening, good evening, everyone.
You're on candid camera, so. Talk, now you guys were talking before, so now
Yeah, yeah.
the floor is yours and you're all clammed up.
Well, it's quite the transition from topics, so
Yep.
like to change the pace slightly. No idea what the background on that one is.
Doesn't
It sounds
matter.
like a financial scenario.
Yep,
So
doesn't matter.
we want to transition the gear a little bit because we're trying to pull money into the town, not the other way around.
Well, we like that.
Yeah, we do as well. So, my name's Chris Welcome,
Yep,
Clean Generation, and Chad Whitaker is my policy analyst. And what
You're
we've
Chad.
done over the last year and a half is follow the state policies here regarding clean energy and the renewable portfolio standard. Our company partnership is with American Commercial Development out west in California. They've been doing projects in multiple countries as well as the
okay.
majority of the states in the U.S. as
Yep.
far as utility scale and rooftop and carports and everything else. In short, before we get into the actual files, when policies in a state get to the point of actually fully supporting clean energy projects,
Yeah.
outside investors start coming in for large utility scale projects, and
Yeah, we're not waiting for that to happen in New Hampshire, are we?
we've been waiting a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're pretty much done waiting. There's a couple
Yeah.
more tweaks coming up for 2019, which are actually all in the positives from where
Yep.
everything fell from last year.
Yep,
I'll have Chad touch on a couple of those points in a few minutes here.
yep,
But in short, what we're doing with several towns and some large companies that have, excess amounts of open land to utilize is
Yep.
offering land lease payments for doing a raise. Currently, we're looking to do up to 1 megawatt AC. If one of the legislative changes happen this year, we could go up to 5 megawatts AC per parcel.
Why is it limited to 1 megawatt?
Governor Sununu veto, so
Oh, yeah.
that looks like it's being changed as well.
Oh, okay.
So it was a
We-
small trip up last year.
We'd be producing too much solar electricity, so
Sort of, yeah.
that was bad. Oh,
Yeah, everything else lined up pretty well
Yeah.
to support clean energy, wind, solar, whatever. That one veto that was not overturned just kind of pulled it down in scale,
Yeah,
but the time frame that it takes us to do these projects anyway hasn't
doesn't
touched
affect anything
anyways.
anyway.
Right, and new legislation's already been opened up to fix that.
Okay.
Chad, if you want to touch on those two comments now that were
Yeah,
done
of course.
legislatively.
Well, so last legislative session there was a bill that was it was Senate Bill 446, and what would have happened is it would have allowed us to build 5 megawatt solar arrays as opposed to 1 megawatt. It did make it through both chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives. Some actually did a lot of lobbying with the Science, Technology, and Energy Committee. And then unfortunately, when it got to Governor Sununu's desk, he vetoed it. The veto was shy of being overturned by, I believe it was like roughly 8 to 12 votes. It was very, very small.
Why did the governor did he give a reason?
He was under the impression, he was misled, he was under the impression that it would have fallen on the the general public to have to come up with the extra money that the utility companies are losing.
Oh, okay.
Because these are being subsidized through the Public Utilities Commission.
Yeah.
Realistically, the way this works is once a utility scale solar farm gets interconnected to the utility grid, all the power that is being produced, they get paid from the utility company with default supply rate. The utility companies had led the governor to believe that it was going to fall on the ratepayers to then have to come up with that, and that wasn't the case. They were basically wanting to secure the profits that they had. That's a little besides the point, though. This legislative session, there have been multiple bills introduced that will clear all that up. The new legislation, House Bill 365, is going to basically do the same thing that 446 would have done, allowed us to upgrade from a 1 megawatt solar array to a 5 megawatt solar array. Also clears up any ambiguity that caused it to be vetoed the first time around.
Okay.
The other one that we're looking at is Senate Bill 168. Which basically just doubles the renewable portfolio standard that New Hampshire has already set in place.
What does that mean?
Renewable portfolio standard means that we have an incremental schedule of how much power the state is trying to have being provided by renewable sources. So solar, wind, hydroelectric.
Yeah.
Realistically, they have an incremental scale where each year they want to have a little bit more of our power being provided by clean sources and getting away from the nuclear power plants and the dirty fuels. So if
it's a schedule from year to year.
Is it a tax? Talk slow and in small words, okay? So it's not a tax deduction or anything. It's just the state would like
exactly
to have X percentage of electricity come from stuff other than coal.
Correct.
Okay.
Most states across the country have them. We actually just attended a energy symposium a couple of months ago where the head of Unitil and Eversource are talking about rolling blackouts coming through New England within the next 5 years. We have to find a way to fix the problem, and renewable energy happens to be our best solution at this point. So yes, the RPS is it's a goal that the state has implemented.
RPS stands
Renewable
for
Portfolio Standard.
Renewable Portfolio Standards.
And should this bill get signed into law this year, it'll basically double the goals that we've already set for ourselves over the last couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a statewide set. Some towns have their own RPSs within the towns. And Bedford's a really good example. They're shooting for 100% by 2030. Very aggressive goal. They're on top of the legislation. They know what can be done, what can't be done. And we met with them in September. Proposed for a couple different sites there as well. And we're planning for the 5 meg to be increased as well. And if a parcel has enough room, then we can do that jump from 1 to 5 before construction even starts.
What's the thumbprint of that scale? 1 to 5.
Square footage wise?
Well, no,
acres.
Acres.
For a 1 meg that we're currently looking at right now, which is in your packet for the transfer station site on Porter Road. That's a 1 meg array of almost 3,000 panels. It's about 5-6 acres, give or take.
And the mill is too small.
The mill complex is a whole other topic we're happy to talk about. We didn't do any designs because we really weren't sure what the town was looking to do with that property. It's very unique versus just an open field like at the transfer station.
Well, we do have an open field there.
I understand there's a landfill there.
Well, no. There's an open field. It's a lawn.
Okay.
I'm not sure how many acres it is, but it's got to be pushing 3.
Okay. I mean, between that and the area where the landfill was, there's plenty of room between parking lot space and open field there, in addition to the rooftop of the mills. But I didn't know if it was looking to get bought, leased.
Well, we can. We have control of the building, so we can do whatever we want, and it would just be part of the package when somebody took it over.
Fortunately for us, and again, I haven't even brought that project to American Commercial Development's table yet. Got them busy enough as it is already. This is a whole other ball of wax by itself. But fortunately, they do straight commercial development outside of the solar industry.
Okay.
They're actually working on a casino right now on the West Coast.
Okay.
They've done a lot of very complex, they do a lot of residential developments. And solar is incorporated with those plans as well. So I'm sure he would be interested in looking at it. If we knew what you guys were looking to do or not do.
There is no not.
So
we don't want to do anything illegal.
Like someone's going to say no at some point.
Well, I mean, we don't want to do anything that's illegal, immoral, or fattening.
Totally. Of course.
So, but then there is no plan,
Right.
and so we are looking to develop a plan.
Okay. Is a straight purchase of the entire parcel an option?
Certainly an option.
Okay. So I think that's something we would be looking to see if we can get more information out of what's really going on today there.
Nothing.
I did a lot. I'm talking about the EPA stuff.
That's been it's been
100% done,
it's signed off. Yeah.
Okay.
Including not being able to use the parcel for residential use.
You can use it
you
for
can at this
residential.
point,
No,
okay.
it's signed off on for residential. It was going to be a residential development.
Okay.
Right.
And then
I
the-
saw some soft plans of an idea or a concept.
Oh, they were taking lot holds, or the governor, former governor,
Mhm.
2 governors back was the little guy. What the heck was his name? Steve. Nice guy, heck of a nice guy. Came over, and I would say it was 2005 or 6, and but it was just before the market tanked. But they had floor plans and so forth for residential development. So
Nationwide Construction Consulting.
that might be it. Steve Merrill, Governor Merrill, Steve Merrill, I think is who was over there.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to focus on that site
Okay.
for tonight unless we have the time, but I mean, it's already getting fairly late as it is,
Oh.
and we haven't even touched on the
It's not
transfer
a
station
fast
site.
one. It's not 8:30, it's 7:30.
I didn't even look at the hour, I was looking at the minutes. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I'm just putting that out there. So go with what your plan is.
I was intrigued when I got
Yeah.
the files on that, because
Yeah.
like, it didn't come with any notes, I'm like, whoa, what's this?
Yeah.
Typically we get like, a giant, acre of,
Yeah.
of open land or trees or whatever, and then there's just this huge complex, I'm like, okay, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So I ran down that rabbit hole for a few hours.
well, no, there's the only issue with that hillside is it basically faces the northwest.
Mhm.
So I don't know if that's an issue for you or
Depends on how
not.
steep it is. Yeah, I mean, obviously for solar, we're looking southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So anything from that 180 degree,
Yeah.
west to east and south,
Yeah.
anything from that's.
Well, it's
is
plenty
west.
open, but that's it. Again, you can look at that at some point if you want. But
Mhm.
continue on with your
Sure,
discussion.
sure. So getting back to the solar aspect, again, ACD would be coming in and they'd actually be doing all the construction of everything, operations, maintenance over the entire term of the project.
Mm-hmm.
The letter of intent is in your packet as well. Softly looking at it, they're looking at offering, upwards of 25,000 per 1 megawatt AC. That is the nameplate capacity of the inverters on the project. It looks like we can very comfortably squeeze a 1 megawatt AC project on that parcel of open land there, which you'll see. I don't know, whichever you put the LOI.
Letter of intent should be the next packet under. I have the PowerPoint first. Oh no, next is the sign up form. Yeah, it's the sign up form.
Letter of intent's very clear at the top of it. Should be right after that. There you go.
Probably says letter of intent on it, right?
That's the one.
There we go.
Again, LOIs are not binding, agreements binding,
Yep.
by any means necessary, guys. It just puts us both in on the same page as you guys are interested in having a new source of income coming through under the solar industry, and 25K per year at a minimum 20 year, you're looking at $500,000. That also comes with a pilot, which is a payment in lieu of taxes for that parcel of land that we are going to be utilizing.
So you would pay the town of Troy $25,000 a year to put a 1 megawatt solar farm in the dump.
Correct. You got it.
And so if we agree to,
I can see the questions burning already.
yeah, it sounds terrible. So
Yeah, I know.
So, and a letter of intent takes us to where? So let's say we discuss this tonight, we vote in the affirmative, and then that means what?
So at that point, then we start getting into deeper analysis of the site, soil samples, topography, and everything else that goes with
Yeah.
making sure we can actually build a
Right.
site there, which it looks very good
Have you-
initially, which is why we were able to do up to 25.
Okay, have you built on former dump sites before?
Oh yeah, they're one of the most
One of the most popular
common
ones.
ones to do.
Yeah, because you can't grow any, you can't let trees and
It's
stuff grow.
brownfields, right?
Yeah.
So it's usually the first place we go as
Yep.
PV developers for the utility scale projects. We have several other ones throughout the state that we're eyeballing as well. Obviously Bedford's one of them. They've got a big capital infill there as well.
So what happens, so give us the sequence of events. So we discussed this, you're gonna, then you would go back and study this. There's no cost to the town for your studies, correct?
Correct.
And then you're gonna come up with a hard plan on this is what we're gonna do. And
So you should see a rough design on the last page of the letter of intent, to see the array. It's about 2,800, almost 2,900 panels.
oh, that's what this is.
That's what that is. That's a preliminary design,
Yep.
and that's just under 1 megawatt AC there, and there's still plenty
Okay.
from there. So it's like, I think it was 987 kilowatts AC. So
And when would we know if the plan would actually be able to go forward?
I'd say within the next month, maybe 2 months, depends on how many we're looking to get as a total.
Okay.
So right now, what we do is we don't do one project at a time.
No, I
We
understand.
pull them all together in a big portfolio.
Sure.
We're still building money, as silly as that sounds. We're
Right.
up to almost $30 million just for New Hampshire in 2019.
Yep.
So we're gonna need dozens of projects. okay?
Sure.
So we're really hoping for the 5 meg to get opened up so we can do less projects.
Right.
And
And generate
still
more
achieve the goal, you know? Some sites just, they don't have the space anyways.
Right.
You know, so we can still do anything under 5 megawatts
Okay.
if that happens for us.
How many do you have now? How many sites, confirmed sites now?
Everything's letter of intent right now.
All right.
A lot of the legislation stuff kind of dragged everything out for a little while because investors and developers aren't gonna start putting money into
Mhm.
anything until we know where the dust settles.
Okay.
So we have several LOIs between a couple towns. Bedford, is very active with doing some school projects as well.
Yeah.
So we're talking to the school district, the city,
Mhm.
and some private companies.
Mhm.
Some of the towns will tell us to go talk to X, Y, and Z company down the road because of their biggest
They have a
consumer
big
power. in
plant or
town.
whatever, and you could use that.
Right.
Sure.
Pittsfield was one of the towns
Mhm.
that did that for us almost overnight. He's like, oh yeah, here's this person, this person, this person. They would definitely want to hear some of this as well. So it starts rolling from there. But in short, to stay on track for you, the first stack of paper that you had there was the
PowerPoint.
the slides for going over the process and some of your Q&As on where the power's going, how you're benefiting, and why you guys don't have to pay anything.
Yep.
So these are net metering projects. Net metering is excess power that goes back into the grid.
Yep.
Okay, so these arrays will be connected directly to the utility company, which
Yep.
up here is Eversource. We can net meter to any company, resident, any meter
Mhm.
in Eversource's territory in the state.
Yep.
So we could benefit someone out in Portsmouth from your array here and vice versa.
Yep.
That's how the net metering rules work. It doesn't have to be someone here in your town.
Mhm.
And vice versa. If no one in the entire town signed up for the profit sharing, which is the sign up form you saw,
Yep.
if no one signed up for that's fine. You guys can still get your lease payments.
Yep.
Power just goes up and someone else collects the
Yep.
benefit from it indirectly.
Okay.
Okay, so there's twofold. You guys would get the power, the lease payments, okay,
Mhm.
minus your portion of taxes for that parcel that we're using.
Yep.
Again, to be clear, it's not the entire parcel; it's only the portion that we utilize.
Yeah.
Because that parcel, I believe, is 120 acres. Or
Yeah.
something silly like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So we're not paying all those taxes. We put
No,
it in
no.
part there.
And
But-
it's, interestingly enough, the town doesn't pay taxes to itself,
okay,
so we're good on that.
perfect, even better.
Ooh, jeez.
Yeah, thank you.
Good catch.
So, the secondary form of income would be the profit share sign up. So what that is it's a cash rebate to any meter.
In
that
this
is-
town.
It could be anyone, right? But we're
Okay.
offering it to you guys first.
Yeah.
Obviously, because we're putting you right in your backyard.
Yeah.
At that point, we would say your town hall, fire department, police department, library,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. All the utility bills that you guys pay Eversource for, we can enroll into that program. Keep your third-party suppliers if you have competitive supply rates. There's no conflict, okay?
Right.
That was handled last year on a separate Senate bill.
Yep.
So we get the double dip, so we call it in the industry, double
Yep.
dip, keep them, get this and benefit, right? It's a 1 cent per kilowatt hour that you consume on those meters.
Yep.
So if you're using 1 megawatt hour out of all of them, you're getting $10,000 per year as a cash rebate.
Yep.
For being part of that program, okay? The chart you see there on the very bottom there, that really explains the hows and whys of getting the money for essentially nothing
Mm-hmm.
for the end users.
Mm-hmm.
The investors and developers are guaranteed payments by the utility companies
Mhm.
at a default supply rate, not the competitive third party or the wholesale from the ISO New England,
Mm-hmm.
your default supply, Eversource's actual rate. Right now, I think it's 9.4 cents for supply.
Yep.
So the investors are guaranteed that payment for all power that is being produced from these projects.
Right.
Year on and year on and
Right,
year on
right.
until the end of 2040. Okay, that's the tariff structure,
Right.
which again is cited on that chart there for New Hampshire order
Right.
26,090 something. 029. 029. Sets the timeline and the criteria of utility company paying over this period of time. It's guaranteed, it's grandfathered in, so we as investors understand
What you're gonna get paid back.
Right. However, that doesn't happen if we don't have an associated list of group members to allocate that new power to. Okay, so that's where the profit sharing comes into play. One hand feeds the other. Investors aren't gonna come in and build $10 million worth of projects if we have no idea
Nobody's
where the
gonna
benefits
use
are going,
Right.
which means we wouldn't get paid by the utility companies.
Right.
Okay, so it's an entire circle that has to be completed before everything kicks into place.
Sure.
And that all falls back to legislation, unfortunately, too. So 2 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to have this conversation.
Yep.
I've been very active in Mass for many years because Mass has just been beating the bricks out of most other states in the country.
Every field you drive through in Massachusetts, if it
Yeah.
doesn't have apple trees, it's got
Right.
solar panels, and half of the apple orchards have got solar panels
Yeah,
down the middle
yeah,
of it.
there's over 600 projects in Massachusetts now.
Oh, I'm
for
sure.
the last 9 or 10 years, and I've been in it for 4 years down there. So for me, as a New Hampshire resident for over 30 years, it's like, all right, finally, we're finally getting there and catching up a little bit. So it's been really exciting to get some of this stuff out of the way, so we can come out here and offer, especially some of the small towns that need that income. They really do, and they really don't have much of a plan on how to generate new income. At least that's the consensus from a lot of the towns we've been speaking to the last couple of months. It's, yes, please bring these projects in. It's the same thing the guys at Pittsfield said too. Like, how many can you do? It depends. We don't
Right.
have a ceiling yet. I think in the next 45 days, we'll get a ceiling amount from the investors that said,
This is all we
20,
wanna
30
do.
projects, and then we'll hit the next,
See if
the
it
next round in
works.
2020.
Right.
That's not if it works, it's a allocation of their funds.
Oh, I
overall.
understand. Yeah.
Because again, they're rolling through many states as well, so they can only do so many.
So
per
if
state.
we go forward signing a letter of intent, all we're saying is we're interested if you make this work.
Correct.
What's the downside to us?
If you guys wanted to turn it down, then you guys stay status quo.
Right. Now,
nothing would change,
so if you put this in town, the town is a guaranteed $25,000 payment.
Mhm.
You're going to take care of the equipment, the arrays.
It's fully owned and operated by
Yep.
us. Yeah,
What
so
happens
fenced
when-
in and everything.
What happens 15, 20 years from now when they've worn out?
Decommissioning is all part of the lease agreement.
Part of the
Yep,
contract.
and
Okay.
it's well after 15 years.
Okay.
So we
well,
started a 20-year lease agreement.
Yeah.
The panels are good for well past 30 years. But we started at 20,
Yeah.
and there will be 2 5-year increases attached to that agreement as well. The reason why we don't, he took off. The other gentleman that was here earlier was like, why don't they do like 40 or 50-year terms? Well, because policies change,
Yeah.
incentives change, technology changes.
Yeah,
So we're
he's
not
young.
gonna.
He doesn't get the 20 years as.
He got it after. It was fine. So we caught up on that pretty quick. But that was why. So we started at 20. It's really a 30 though.
Yeah.
I mean, to take an array down in 20 years is a waste of money.
Yeah.
They're there, they're working, they're producing
Yeah,
power.
yeah.
Even if we have panels in 20 years that are tenfold stronger,
Yeah.
why decommission so prematurely? It
Right.
makes no sense.
It depends upon how much cheaper they are and how much more power they
Right.
generate.
And a lot of that has plateaued out over the last couple of years as well. The super big advancements in the PV industry is not really in our near future, at least not to the mass markets for scalable projects like these.
Yeah.
For your homeowners, your small systems where they can buy premium stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, you can get stuff that's 10% stronger,
Yeah.
but you're paying heavy coin for it, and that's
Yeah.
not a utility grade project.
Right.
But yeah, decommissioning and all that is all part of the process as far as who's responsible, when's it gonna happen, putting it all right back to where it was afterwards. Using the natural habitation to create natural boundaries and things like that, fencing, keep the wildlife out, the town party animals or whatever.
Do you have to keep the animals out, or can't they?
Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah,
What,
yeah.
what do they do? Bird nests and stuff?
Bears like to use solar arrays for scratching posts.
Oh, cool.
I suppose
We have
on the
bears around
wires,
here.
whatever. Yeah, it ends up in being in causing damage and causes a lot of problems. And
Mm,
power starts going down because of stuff like that. Loss of profits all over the place.
yeah.
You know, so we try to reduce that as much as possible.
Okay.
You know, whether it's animals or theft or anything like that. You know, we do our best to protect the investments. You know, at that point.
Okay.
We have to go through abutters as well, you know, just like any other large project, you know, within any town, make sure everyone, you know, within the you know, direct area is okay with it, but I think that parcel that we're talking about is not gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I would say you're pretty safe on that one.
Such as like the other one we were talking about, right across the street from the mills, just south of it, parcel 32, I think it was. Yeah, Howard Street, I think it was.
Yeah, Howard.
Yeah. There's a small parcel, like not even, like maybe 3 acres sitting there, but water's going right through it.
Oh, the
Plus the
mill,
neighbors
that's
and
part of
everything, I'm
the
like,
mill
I
owns
forget.
that.
Howard Street.
It was just
It's a 7-acre parcel owned by the mill.
across the street from
Mhm.
Monadnock.
Oh, yeah.
We're totally fine with looking at other sites.
Okay.
We took the transfer station because it was the easiest, cleanest site to propose
Yeah.
for right now.
What about an abandoned pond?
Go on.
Well, there used to be a reservoir up on Richmond Road. I'm just thinking about big open spaces.
Yeah.
And then you'd certainly have to talk to the
But when you
abutters.
say pond, we gotta pause because obviously we're talking electricity and water, which
Well, no,
Well,
there
it's-
was a reservoir. I'm
Okay.
thinking mill, and then what else did the mill own?
yeah.
The mill had a reservoir on West Hill, and
Mhm.
the residents chose to not buy the dam and maintain it. So they had waterfront property, they didn't want to maintain it, so the mill breached the dam. So now what you have is a great big field. It's been 10 years at least since the mill breached the dam, but there's a big nothing there. I don't know who owns the land at this point.
What's the flooding probabilities of that area?
Couldn't tell you. I mean, it's.
That's stuff that would either
I'm
rule
just
it out
thinking,
or-
where are there big open spaces in the
Right.
town of Troy?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be open. We can do the deforesting as
Yeah,
well.
well, you don't want to. This wouldn't be a major logging project. This would be
Right. I'm just saying those are
10 years worth
still
of growth.
open as well,
Yeah,
though.
okay.
You know, although some people will quickly jump in and say, "Oh, why would we cut down trees? We put in solar. That's kind of weird."
Well, when you burn the trees in your wood stove, and
There's that.
it's all renewable.
Yeah. When you're doing it one log by a time, you don't really think about it versus, you know, let's
Yeah.
chop down 6 acres. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And there's always some pushback when we're taking a forest down. I mean, not
Yeah.
a forest, but when we're taking down a section of a forest for anything really.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's not go down that rabbit hole too much. I'm sorry I even brought it up, but
No, it's okay.
So
No,
I ask you, do you put these up on private land or just for town?
we sure can. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got a few landowners between Londonderry and a few way up north that own hundreds of acres and they have no plans. So yeah, we've got a few of those guys as well. Actually, probably more of those than we do towns, to be honest.
Just a quick question, what about using open power, the power lines? There's so many power lines around here with different slopes and banks, I mean, it's already there. And you'd be responsible for cleaning it, cause that's their property, but, you know.
You're talking about high tension lines?
Yeah,
yeah.
Those are owned by Eversource. Those are owned by the utility companies.
so they won't let you do what you're trying to do.
They have easement on the property, so it really depends on
Oh.
what they're willing to
Okay,
do.
I just had to
Right.
ask, there's a lot of open space on power lines.
Yeah, and you know that is one of the criteria for whether we can do a project is having 3-phase electric very close by. Extension of 3-phase is very very expensive.
Well, you have it at the transfer station, and you have it at the mill.
Wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
When we proposed, and that's exactly one of the first things we look at.
Yep.
Same thing with, you know, if we have a private landowner that's very interested in using up some of his property, but he's in a very heavy residential area, so
Yeah.
it's all single phase.
Yeah.
We'll go to the next step and try to find where the closest section of 3-phase is, and if it's feasible to do an extension.
Right.
If it's more than like a quarter mile away, it typically just puts the cost
Yeah,
way upside down, unfortunately. Especially in New Hampshire, because our incentives on solar are not as strong in comparison
As
to
they are
other
in
Massachusetts. So there are things that come into play where it's just not really good ROI over a 30-year period for someone to drop their own.
Well, let's see. You guys have questions that you'd like to ask? I mean,
Well, the commitment would be a 20-year.
minimum of 20,
and
realistically 30.
It's a 25,000 a year.
Correct. This is the letter of intent, but yes,
Correct.
initially.
With no, it's gonna be a flat 25 for 20 years. There's no step increments.
Correct. Yeah. Someone else has brought that up as well, as far as like compensating for inflation of
Mhm.
monetary value. As of right now, if someone wanted to have that escalation in for the value, we would end up having to start a little bit lower for the first few years.
Well, but there's also did I not understand that there's a credit back, there's a profit sharing?
Yeah, right.
Two
So,
separate things,
No,
although
but-
they're related for the entire circle.
well, no, but I understand, so even if we're getting a base rate of $25,000 a year,
We're gonna, right,
we're gonna make it up with the profit sharing if the rate is 4 times what it is now.
But the circle has to be complete for that.
You gotta make this,
It doesn't have to fall on you guys. You know what I mean? So you guys can do one of two things, or both. Okay, you can either say, forget, we just don't have any land to do an array. Sorry guys, we love the income, but we just can't.
well,
do
we're
it.
already past that.
Right. Hypothetically speaking, though.
Yep.
Otherwise, because that has happened with other towns. However, we can still have all the town buildings signed up for the profit share program, even if we're not
Right.
hosting a site here, and vice versa. We can host a site here and not sign up any of your buildings for the
Well, what
profit
if
share.
Joel and I wanted to sign up on our Eversource bills? Can we do that?
Right now, we're not dealing with taking residential meters into the
Okay.
program because there's way too many of them. They're very small in comparison. We're looking for the larger users of power, so we
Mhm.
don't have to sign up thousands of them.
Yeah,
That's kind of something you get to on the back end of this
okay.
wave, if you want to call it a wave
Okay.
of solar. Which, again, Massachusetts is a perfect example. There's companies that focus just on the offtake.
Well, he has,
Project like this
and only because he's sitting here, but he has a business, you know, in a commercial building that is
Yep.
consequential, it's not $50 a month, I'm
Right.
sure.
The commercial meters on them.
Yeah. Does that building have 3-phase, Joel?
I don't know if 3-phase goes down that far, but I don't think you need 3-phase, you just need 3-phase where
Where you're
the
putting
solar panel.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as being a part of the profit share program, does not matter.
I'm
If you-
talking
You don't
about
even have
the
to own the
profit share.
property.
Okay,
Yeah, you don't have to own the property, you can be a tenant,
yeah,
which has actually been really, really good for,
Yep.
companies that are just in the strip mall leasing, and they're like,
right,
I couldn't put solar on here if it was free.
right.
Because they don't have that call. The profit share, also known as community solar in most other states.
Yeah.
I rephrased it because it makes way more sense to explain to somebody.
Yeah,
There's no fee to get into it. It's first come, first served.
so as much capacity as there is,
You got it.
we can suck up with the town buildings.
You got it.
Any potential future tenant at the mill could sign up for it.
Yeah, if we had capacity open, you're
If you-
talking down the road.
So alright, so if you don't have any capacity, so let's say
We generate a wait list at that.
how does the profit sharing come back to the town? Do we get profit sharing if the profit sharing goes to who?
To any meter that's signed up, that's
Oh,
enrolled.
to any meter that's signed up, okay.
Correct. Yep. So we do reservations is what we've been calling it for like the last year and a half,
Okay.
is being reserved into the profit share.
Yeah.
Because we have to stack that entire list of group members in order
Yep.
to support
Again,
projects.
your investors wanna know that they have customers.
100%, as well as the utility companies
Right.
and the Public Utilities Commission, they all need to know.
Yeah.
That's 909.05
Well,
RSA if you wanna look at it.
No, we believe you.
Yeah, it says name, account number, meter number, kilowatt hours, annual,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. We love to dig into the boring details to make sure we can educate and not
Yep.
sell.
Yep.
There's no selling needed for stuff like this if you know how it works. But yeah, so essentially, good question. Do any of you guys know what the annual kilowatt hours for the town?
We
Are?
spent several weeks sorting out our electric bills.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I say sorry because I've looked at tens of thousands of its reports.
Not sure that we are sophisticated enough to tell you what the.
Big stack of bills just came in yesterday for Eversource.
Yeah, but you want to sit. We're not going to go through and run a tab and say how many kilowatt hours we used last month. We
Well, we
could,
could.
we could, or we could scan them and email them to them.
How many meters? How many meters do you guys have?
A bunch,
Yeah, at least a dozen.
like crazy numbers,
Yeah.
like maybe 50.
It's not the worst we've seen.
Well, we think it's a
So
lot.
yeah, when you start getting up to like 100 something meters, it's like
Yeah.
took us a few hours.
yeah, Milford was
Yeah.
nuts. So, but it's, yeah, as far as profit share, we already have more than enough group members signed for what we have under letter of intent for projects.
Okay.
We've got over 10 megawatt hours of profit sharing clients signed and waiting. Some of them have been signed up since late 2017.
Okay.
Well before some of the legislation came through, which was in 2018.
So my question to the select board, because we do have other very important things we need to deal with tonight, which I believe this is important too. It's all important. That's the problem.
That's a good thing to have.
Not necessarily. Is do we want to take action on a letter of intent tonight? Do we want to take it up at the next meeting? What is your pleasure, gentlemen?
I'm okay with it for tonight.
I am too.
Yeah.
You
Curtis?
gotta remember what the planning board just mentioned, they're changing the rules for solar panel. Do you got it off the top of your head by any chance? No?
Well, we're on letter of intent time.
Right. Yeah, I
This is
definitely check into it.
it was a town issue that was coming up about solar in particular, or
Well, they changed some of the ruling
Zoning
about.
ordinances, I did hear something about that.
Yeah.
Trying to stop.
I thought there was a correction we had to make, or was a
Let me see if I can find it real quick.
well, no. Well, let's not get down that road, Curtis. If we have a problem with the zoning, we can deal with that. The letter of intent is simply saying we're interested.
right.
You guys
If there
have
is a zoning issue, the next
We'd have
an
to deal
immediate
with
step would be a
right.
Rezoning of the lots that we're
Right.
looking at doing a project on, which obviously comes right back to you guys. So,
Yep.
we're happy to go through that process. Obviously, it's on your
Well, we would work that
it's
out.
on your plate as far as the time frame and what
Yeah.
kind of delays it would do to launch the project.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
but essentially, we're looking at pooling up a couple dozen
Yeah.
sites initially in the first 6 months to get going
And
and
we-
initially started.
We would like you to look at the mill too. You should
I
understand
would
what's
personally
there.
like to look at the mill as well. I can't speak for the guys that have all the money. That's going to be a very heavy sell for Danny out west. But I'll
Yep.
do my best. I would like to see a mixed use, facility there.
Yeah, we would too.
Between commercial and residential.
We would too.
I lived in some of the mills down in Manchester for a couple of years that Brady Sullivan renovated. And
Yep.
They weren't too bad.
Yeah.
Quality could have been a little bit better, but it is what it is when you're trying to
Happens.
keep your overhead down, right?
Right.
So
I'm
I
gonna-
would like to set up another appointment to get into more details, and I'll
Yep.
bounce it off of West Coast and
Yep.
see if he
We
says
can.
yay or nay.
There's some videos online.
Watched some drone videos already from
Well,
YouTube.
there's some interior videos
Mm.
he's posted. Are they on the town website as well?
Yeah, it's on there.
No, they're on the Facebook website.
I'm sorry, yeah.
The 360s that
The
he did?
360s are on Facebook.
Okay, so Chrissy can fill you in on where you can.
One
look
initial
up.
question is, would there be opposition on, and no offense to the history, but of taking the entire complex down to the ground and starting over?
That's a problem.
Okay,
Yeah.
that would probably be one of the first questions. 'Cause sometimes it's harder to renovate
Oh,
what's in place
absolutely,
than
yeah.
starting from a
Yeah.
fresh.
That may be
path.
that would be. I would plan on that being a problem.
Okay.
The
As far as asbestos and all that stuff, that there's nothing to be
well, I
dealt
would never
with.
say nothing, but there's the understanding is the site's clean and they were ready to go forward with development.
Okay.
You'll see in the 360. I mean, there's the usual garbage in there, but
Right.
Uh,
I mean,
you
I
know,
went through
the-
the EPA records and everything on the landfill
Yep.
portion, and I dug pretty far, but I got up to the bankruptcy and everything else, and then
the cleanup is
Just-
post bankruptcy.
yeah, okay.
The building is built. It's got double layers of 4-inch thick oak flooring.
He was telling us all about the flooring.
Yeah,
I think he said it was like
you
3 or
could take
4
a 75 millimeter
Yeah,
shell and hit
yeah.
that, and it
I
probably
was like,
wouldn't
yeah,
go
that's,
all the way
that's why the
through.
place is still standing.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So, and anything that was usable, copper wiring, steel plumbing, steel materials. There was one part of one loom that I saw was left in there. I don't know why they left that, but
Ran out of space in the truck.
yeah, I pretty much would say that's the
Right.
case. But the building's been stripped out, so you've got bricks and steel and wood.
That waterway that goes under the complex, is that the one you were talking about earlier?
Ultimately, I mean, from the one, it starts at the reservoir up on West Hill, yeah.
So is water still running through
Oh,
that
yeah.
complex, and
Oh, yeah.
whatever the mill, is it still operational, or is it just
No,
decommissioned?
well, it's been stripped out, so no.
Okay, so
it
it's just
has-
free flowing water at this point.
It's a free flow of water, yeah.
It's a very interesting project.
It's a
I
great-
would love to put some money.
Well,
but I can sell it to them as best as I can, and
Well, we would,
we'll see what we can do.
that's not a conversation for tonight, but certainly that's down the road. So I'll take a motion to, agree to the letter of intent.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And,
Chad, I'll email you the link
Please.
to that, and then we're going and taking more pictures tomorrow, so there'll be more tomorrow as well.
Perfect.
And
And
he actually has an amazing aerial shot of the entire complex. I'll have to send you that too.
Is that the drone footage?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, did you put yours on this one?
Yeah, it's
The
on.
most recent one?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was
They did
this.
it right.
like
Chrissy-
within a year or two, there was.
no, it's just Saturday.
Oh, okay. No, we
Yeah.
haven't seen that one yet. There's
Yeah.
a drone video from I think.
oh
a year
yeah,
or two
there's a
ago.
lot of,
No,
So-
that was
Or a few years ago,
maybe 4 months ago.
maybe. Okay.
Chrissy
YouTube
is,
search, Troy,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's where I found that one
Yeah.
drone video.
so I spiraled around the smokestack,
It's cool.
so. But it gives you a good idea of the roof.
I don't think there's any
Yeah.
issues with the
with the zoning,
zoning for solar.
so
It's
Reggie,
just that.
The utility bills for the town, so
We
we can
need
see where they're
solar
at for the
system
whole
owned by
year.
the town homeowners.
See where
with
the,
it,
what kind of
10,
kilowatt
15 kilowatts and 1
hours
megawatt.
on an annual basis.
The whole year.
Commercial scale system, that's just the definition.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the
But I
that's
don't think there's gonna be any.
Your-
looks like we're right in there,
Your
yeah.
current statements
Commercial,
should
The also
have
energy
a
systems
13-month
tended
history
right
right
now
on the
into a
front
business
page. If
other
they
than
are
non-residential,
set
well,
up that
no,
way,
that's, we're
then
in
the solar
here.
plan just send
That'd
them
be
all
if Joel
January
put one on
ones,
his
December,
restaurant,
and we'll do the math for the
We
That's
past.
what I
just
think
got
that
January,
is.
so you want January, you want December?
January.
So I think we're up
It'll
here
go January.
and what they're talking about, this is applicable definitions.
Okay, so.
I say it'll go
Community
from
solar
January to
is what
January.
this would
I'll
be.
go.
So like I said,
Yeah.
you have to be on
Alright, so
Facebook,
gentlemen,
it's,
here's what's gonna happen.
it's that
Your letter of
part, like,
intent
there
was
yet?
just
That's
signed,
you
the
make sure
motion,
it's all the time?
the select board passed the motion to sign the letter of intent, so I've signed it. And what's gonna happen is Chris is gonna scan this and send you,
Yeah.
the PDF of, with my signature on it. It'll also be posted on the town website tomorrow
Perfect. Okay.
and the library.
And then she's gonna provide the January bills for all your meters. We'll
Yep.
calculate up what your 12-month KWH is.
Yep,
Which will give us an idea of where your profit share rebate would be coming in.
okay,
So we'll be able to factor that number in addition to the 25K per year, to give you a
Right.
full scenario, and
okay.
we'll start diving into, the environmental and the location
What are the,
aspects.
all the,
And
logistical
if you guys
issues?
wanna talk about it, whenever you want, there's no massive rush, but, on other sites that you
well,
think is gonna be
when
a
your
consideration.
schedule opens up, coordinate with Chris.
Sure,
And we'll get you into the mill.
Right.
If you want, that's our next big project.
I can imagine.
So, if you can talk to your investors, if they're interested in investing, that would be, we'd be happy to have you take a look at it. And if, the lawn, I'm just, I think small.
I was just gonna say, as a backup, what about doing a subdivision on that parcel to leave the actual mill complex out and use just the open part of land to possibly do another array there for the
Well, you
town?
could just do it on that as it is. You don't need to subdivide anything.
Wouldn't that be an issue for someone else who would
No,
be interested in
no,
buying
it's
the
just one of the
parcel
things-
later, or?
It's like if I have a field and I put a solar array on, I'm selling it, the field's there. I would view it as a plus, really.
But we would own that already.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
But there, you'd still have your contract. So if we sold the dump,
Mhm.
right, that's not happening, but I'm gonna sell
Is
it.
there a
but-
market for that? If people buy it?
Who knows? So if I sell the dump, the $25,000 a year payment from you goes to the new owner.
Right.
So there you go, same deal.
Yeah, it's certainly about,
Yeah.
it's that conversation with the homeowner, but with a redevelopment, who knows if that would be a hindrance.
We don't
or
know.
not, but
We'll make that.
You're in full control of the site, so.
We don't even know if you want to do the site. So until we have that conversation.
And the nice thing too is there is another bracket for incentives in New Hampshire for smaller systems.
Okay.
And right now, the top end of that is 100 kilowatts. That is also up in legislation this year to be bumped up to 500.
I don't think that site's that small. The lawn is not that small.
Right. What I'm
It's-
saying is
it
the
just
benefit's
faces
like
one way.
double though it's really nice. So when
Yeah.
you go to that lower bracket,
Yeah.
they actually they pay for the default supply
Yeah.
and your transmission costs.
Cool.
So, for some of the parcels where we could not even come close to a 1 meg,
Right.
we could look at them and go up to either 100 or hopefully changes up to the 500. So you're talking a half meg
Okay.
of double the benefits.
Well, we're open to all. We are not committed to any one plan. I think it's a site that merits looking at.
Certainly. Yeah.
And I would also think when you think about the rebate factor, going back to if there was a potential developer in the mill, wouldn't the profit sharing be an added incentive to owning that?
Profit sharing would only be an open option in the future if we had available power
Capacity.
to allocate to them, right?
But if I sign up the mill,
It's a large complex, so it's
yeah,
probably
but if
not
I start
high.
up the complex now,
Yeah.
because it's a town building or whatever, then wouldn't that carry through to the new owner?
Well, the issue is that we would have to have an annual usage of electricity
X.
consumed in the building.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Right. So like as of today, there's nothing to sign up for the
Right,
complex.
there's nothing to sign up, but
Right.
there's also no solar panels there.
Right.
So you don't know what's gonna be there a year and a half from now.
Of course. The downside to new construction, or we need that 12-month history in order to allocate. So you'd have to let it season. We had the issue with new franchises just open.
Yeah.
Call us in 6 months.
Yeah.
Even though we don't have any projects on the ground, we can't even say, hey, we're
Right.
gonna block off this much for you.
Right,
Not
we
yet.
wouldn't want you to do that.
Right. So we would put it on the back burner or take
Well,
an assumed amount if we had a good idea.
The first thing to
It
do
would
is
work
figure out if you have any interest in the site.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And then when you know that answer, we'll deal with that. For tonight's discussions, we've covered that,
Yes.
and we're moving forward with that.
Great.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys. Thank you for coming
Thank you very much.
all the way out to the wilds of Troy.
Yes. Great movie too, by the way. It's a great movie.
So,
I'll email you tomorrow.
Sounds great.
so that Jeremy doesn't have to sit here all night.
Got water in yours.
Okay.
That one's yours, yeah. Do we have his abatement request?
Jeremy?
Yes.
It's in after.
As far as the restriction or whatever, is that gonna be?
I don't think it's gonna be an issue, it's actually.
It's where?
Go on our website, for Town of Troy website, all the documents are there, it says ordinance.
Does everybody have a
Do
copy?
search, type in solar,
Yeah,
it'll pop
I'll make
up,
copies.
7 documents, I
Uh,
haven't seen if there's gonna be an issue.
Is it like
yeah, it's probably,
It's for commercial. and
probably
it has
more
definitions,
helpful,
it says
well, we not. I think we can go through it fairly
I
quickly.
think we can look,
I'll
it'll.
wait.
I don't
Right,
think it's
gentlemen, I don't need to cut you off, but we have
No problem.
another customer here.
You got it.
Alright guys, thank you.
Alright, so Jeremy, you submitted an application for abatement to the selectman's office on the 7th. And you feel that you're overassessed, at $218,395.
It wasn't that. It started off at 213, but I've had several discussions with KRT since, and it got dropped to 210. I don't know where 218.
Well, that's what, I think that's what you wrote here.
Oh, maybe that was my rating? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, it was assessed initially at 213, and that I had a meeting right here in this room with him, and he asked me building questions about my house. Is there original windows, floors, blah, 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 all this stuff.
Yeah,
Then I got dropped to like, after he realized there's a shed I've been taxed for a long time, because it never showed up at my house for years, the shed's
Yeah,
been gone. He goes, oh, it's not there? I said, no. I said, you should know that. You go by my house. He goes, no, we do a mass evaluation or something like that, a mass assessment. We don't go to your house. I said, how do you know I didn't build the Taj Mahal up there,
You-
inside and out? You don't know. How do you know it's not falling down? He goes, well, we just go by numbers, and it's like, oh my God. Well, the bottom line is, I mean, there's a whole stuff I could spew off about here. I'm just, first time I've ever done this, ever in my life. I've been in this town 12 years, I think.
yeah,
I've never had a complaint. But when you see the value of your house is not worth what's here on paper, and your next door neighbor, Mike Cummings, everyone else can come down to town when I'm getting sand and tell me, I hate this, no disrespect, Jeremy, but your house isn't worth that. And that's a former selectman. He actually said that. And I said, everybody knows that. Dan Warner laughs at it. He thinks it's a joke. You were at my house. You looked at it, said it's worth 170, 180 if I do work. And then I get this from KRT, so you see my frustration. I want it to be worth that. I would love for it to be worth that.
right.
It's not. You know that. Everyone around me in town knows that.
Well, we all agree on that. So let us share with you how this works.
Okay.
regardless of what I thought 9 months ago, or Mike Cummings thinks today, the way that you have to go about, and I explained this to other people that were in here, so I'll explain it to you. The way it was explained to me, the select board hasn't taken any action on your abatement request, okay? So understand that there's 3 possible outcomes. We can accept your abatement request, we can reject your abatement request, or we can come up with a third number that we think is the right number. Okay?
I trust you, you're a good
Well,
builder in this
no.
area, you know what things are worth. You know
We'll just take that
Okay.
for a grain of salt. But the problem is, like all bureaucratic things, now we're into the form is as important as the content. Okay? And so what you have to do is you now have to make a case. Because here's what happens. Go back to where you talked to the people from KRT and they said they didn't ever go to your house. Well, and I've forgotten what you do for a living, but the KRT is a contractor to the town. And whatever business you're in, you have contractors.
Right.
You either are a contractor, you're dealing with contractors, you've hired a contractor. And so no business, no public entity is any better than the contractors they hire. But the control or the moderation on the contractor is the pushback that we get from our customers. And in the case of the town, our customers are the property owners. So we have probably 2,000 or 3,000 actual property owners. Well, it can't be that many in the town of Troy, but we have thousands of property owners in the town of Troy. And 6 people have taken the time, 6 or 7 people have taken the time to fill out an abatement request.
That's okay.
So I'm not naive enough to think that if there's 2,000 property owners in the town of Troy, 1,993 of them think it's great. 7 people were mad enough to come down, or upset enough to come down and say, I don't think this is right, and here's why. Follow me so far?
Yeah, definitely.
So you're one of those 7 people. And we're going to send a letter out to everybody who's applied for an abatement. We have granted 1 abatement so far because they were the first people to apply, and I had this conversation with them. You need to make a case. There's a part that I left out.
Okay.
If the select board rejects your request for an abatement, or you disagree with our judgment, say we lower it $1.
I just want it to be evaluated at what it's
Well, just listen to this. You have 2 other alternatives. You can take it over to Concord to the Bureau of Land and Tax Appeals. Say, these guys, this is wrong, the selectmen didn't do anything, I need more off. Or you could argue it in Superior Court, if you don't like their decision. But you have to give, whether it's the select board or the Bureau of Land and Tax Appeals or the Superior Court, you have to do more than you've done. You can't basically come in and say, I think this sucks, I want my assessment lowered. You have to come in and build a case and say, I know that my house is now assessed for $210. I think it's worth, I'm picking a number out of the air for arguments, for $175.
Yeah.
And I think it's worth $175 because here are 3 other properties in the town of Troy that have sold for, in similar square footage, similar age, similar design, and they've sold for between one sold for $165, one sold for $175, one sold for $185, so the average is $175. And they had similar amenities and similar amounts of land and similar condition and similar age. And then you would say, and here are 3, so there's one case, and then you're as much backup as you can make for it. Say, and then here's 3 other properties in Troy, similar age and design to mine, and they're all assessed for $175. So why am I assessed for $210? And then you give us something that we can act on. We can agree or disagree with you. But you have to propose the number. It's not for us to say what the number is, because we've got our number.
So what's the best way for me to do it? Get a professional? I don't
Yep,
know. I need
that's
a
what,
professional.
well, I'm trying to help you here.
Okay.
What you have to do is either you can do it yourself. If you don't feel you have the skills yourself, you'd have to hire somebody who can come up with an evaluation for you and put together an opinion of value that's other than what it's assessed for, based on normal valuation standards, of which there are all kinds. That's what appraisers do for a living.
Okay.
You know, so you can do it yourself. The information's all out there. If you don't think it's something you're comfortable doing, or it may be worth it for you to pay somebody a couple $100 to build the case, okay? But you can just, if you have a number in your mind and you want to say, this is what I think it's worth, and then you want to go and figure it out yourself, you can do that too. But based on what you've given us, we would probably have to reject your application, because first, frankly, you don't ask for a specific number, and there's no substantiating. I mean, yeah, former selectman says you think it's too much. Oh, okay.
Oh, no. It's just what you said. But I guess you said things changed in the last 9 months, so obviously things.
They have.
Because you said 170, 180 if it was in, if I did work to it, which you're right. That's all it would be probably worth. You know it, so now I gotta prove it.
Right. And you're gonna, you're gonna have, you know, you've got houses up on West Hill. You've got that new one that's going to sell for $285,000.
That's brand new.
It's brand new, and yours isn't. So there's your benchmark.
That's what I was going to bring up too. I mean, KRT doesn't come up. They don't see. He asked all these questions. They don't see that my roof is patched everywhere and that my siding's cracked.
This is what you need to tell us
Okay.
in writing,
Oh, okay.
and say, I think my house is worth your number, whatever that number is, because my roof leaks. I don't have a furnace. The basement's unfinished. They gave me, they taxed me for a shed that was. I can tell you that 20 years ago, the town of Troy taxed me for the hayloft in my barn being sheetrock, all 3,000 square feet of it, and it's not.
Can I ask a question after you're done? You wanted to ask me a question?
Yeah, I'd like to just a caveat off of this. The reason why KRT didn't come out this year is every 5 years we're allowed to do a partial evaluation. And
Okay.
what they do is they pick up on anybody that had a building permit per se. So if we had, 25 building permits, they go out and assess those vehicles, and then they go off the previous numbers for the rest of the town.
Okay.
Okay? Every 5 years we can do a partial evaluation. So the next evaluation is going to be a full evaluation. Every house is going to get touched.
Oh, okay.
Okay? That's why KRT never came
Just
out.
to bring this up to KRT, George, I think it was, he left a little, I just missed him that one day, it was last Friday, I think it was, he left a card in my door, I called him up and he was already in Amherst. He's coming up on the 12th to do a walkthrough, just like you did, and he's gonna reevaluate again. So maybe I'll wait until February 12th and see what he says, because he's gonna physically see it, he's gonna go in my house and see this stuff, he's gonna see the pipes in my house are all like patched up with shark bite because it needs to be replumbed, he's gonna see it needs a new roof, that the three-season porch roof, he's gonna see it's coming in, it's coming down, he's gonna see all this, and then I need to know how much it costs to rebuild the driveway, it's completely deteriorated, it's a very long driveway.
The condition of the driveway now impacts the value as it is now.
It's terrible.
I know, I've been up there, but so here's what you need to understand. You have homework to do.
Yeah.
The select board's not going to take any action on your request for abatement, which means we're not rejecting it.
Right.
We're not accepting it because it's really incomplete.
Okay,
So we have until the 30th of June, and if you do nothing and give us no more information than you've given us right now, the probability is that the select board would reject it on the last meeting in June. But we're trying to give people as much time as they need to build their case. But the responsibility for building your case is yours.
Okay. Can I ask a question since you're here?
Yeah.
Like, my neighbor Dan Warner, does this affect the value of my house? He just put a 3-car bay garage in, just redid a siding, metal roofing, put a brand new front porch, back porch, another shed. But his house is only worth, and he has way more acres, so I'm not going to get into that because you got.
Well, the land is broken out separately.
I know. So his house, well, the whole thing, he owns way more than me, and his house is 10 times nicer than mine, but his house is only worth on your paperwork $3,000 more than my old piece of crap house. Then you got Adam Cutts, who has 2 homes on his property. If you didn't know that, you probably do. That barn is a home. Now you see the wood flooring? Do you see the wood right there? Walk into the place. The ceilings, the walls, the floor, the cabinets, inside, upside down. That little barn's worth more than my house, and they live in it. And the mom was so. How does that affect the property value of me?
Well, other than dropping the dime on your neighbors for building houses without building permits, I would say the answer is your house. It doesn't affect you. Your house is based on what your house is, not what their house is.
Okay.
But here's how it would affect you.
No.
If your neighbor's house, whichever one of those you chose, sold for $80,000 because the market collapsed, that would affect the value on your house because yours would be worth less. But that's how it would affect
yeah,
it. And if every house up there is selling for $1 million,
Yep.
yours would be worth more because of the proximity to the expensive houses.
Oh, okay.
Here's the rule that any real estate investor will tell you, that you always buy the crappiest house in the best neighborhood.
Okay.
So
That's
there you
what
go.
it is right now. Other than the trailer that lady rents above me and lives in. But
Well,
anyway,
so what you need to do is you need to figure out realistically what you think you should be looking at as an abatement, like what the number is you think it's worth. And you're going to meet with the guy from KRT on the 12th,
yeah.
and you may find that when he looks at the house, he goes, "Oh yeah, this isn't nearly as good as we thought it was,"
Okay.
or he may go, "Holy Jesus, this is worth
So it's an
$300,000."
opinion, you mean? Is it an opinion? That's what it's sounding like. It's an opinion of somebody.
It is.
I mean, I have no hardwood floors. I have nothing nice in my house. It's just a house. I got plastic floors, laminate wood. The linoleum on the floor in the kitchen's probably 30 some odd years old. It's all chipped up. It's
Right.
worn
Well,
through.
that's outside the scope of our meeting.
Conversation.
What you need to do is not tell us everything that's wrong with your house.
Okay.
You need to figure out what you think it's worth
Yep.
and bring it back to us and tell us why
Okay.
that number is different than the assessment.
Okay.
And you just told us you're already meeting with KRT.
Yes.
So once you've done that meeting, see what he says, and then if you like that, then great. And if you think he's still high, then you need to build your case for your abatement.
All right, I'll build the case, what pictures and everything, and then get the professional guy.
The more information, the easier it is for us to make a decision.
As a suggestion, if you were to do
Yep.
the homework yourself, what's your recommendation for a comp time frame? 1 year, go back.
I would go back at least. You broadly speaking, a year is fine. Yeah.
What do you mean by that, going back?
To get comparisons.
Oh, go back to your
Houses that
on
were
house
sold.
sales. Okay.
Yeah.
But some of the houses that sold up there, like you said, it doesn't matter if their houses are worth more, it makes mine worth more. Like there's a house that sold 3-door, just past Mr. Lane's old house. It's right in his driveway. Nice little wood cabin, log cabin. Gorgeous inside now. Of course, it's gonna sell more than my house.
What'd that sell
It's
for, Rich?
absolutely
A
280.
little log cabin?
The other one you
Beautiful.
sold. No, the one on the right.
Oh, 260.
Kendall's.
Yeah,
See,
260.
the comps
thing
don't,
is,
it's sold for
the comps don't
268.
necessarily
It's the
have
guy
to be in your
for it, though. If we
neighborhood.
went in that house and I have, because I hunted with a guy, you go in there, your shoes have to be off before you get in. It's like,
I never took my shoes off.
you didn't? No. It was Kendall in there, right?
Yeah.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, yeah,
So
the
I
road
can't
road
compete with someone like that. Listen, we both have our house for sale right now, and I wanted 269. He wanted 269. Guess whose house are we gonna buy?
Well, but and again, I don't want to type a whole lot more in this meeting on this.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that you need to understand, though, Jeremy. Kendall's house sold for $269. He lives 5 doors down from you. Yours is assessed for $210. There's a $58,000 spread.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's a new. I guess I brought that up just because of Dan's. Well, I won't. But you said don't drop the dime.
well, so the bottom line is you need to go take a realistic look and say, what's it worth, and you need to tell us what you think it's worth.
Okay.
And you need to tell us why. So, as Tim said, you're going to go back a year. You're going to go back 6 months. You're going to have Kendall's house, and it's probably less square footage than your house. I know it is. I've sold both houses twice. But his is way better condition than yours. So it's not just square,
Yeah,
it's not just location, it's not just square footage. So you need to you've got your plan. You understand what your plan
gave
is.
me a good plan. And,
Your plan is number one, you're gonna meet with KRT and see what they say.
yes.
They may walk through and just solve the whole problem for you. If you don't like their answer, then you're gonna have somebody help you you're gonna hire an appraiser or put it together yourself. And a year is not unreasonable. Longer than that on residential is really unreasonable.
Okay.
6 months would be really good. But the other problem you're gonna have is if all your comps are a year old, and because they give you an answer you like, but in the last 6 months, the prices have all been higher, that's cheating. That doesn't count.
And I don't